New real estate agents often wonder if they should go part-time or full-time. In this video, I'm going to share the secret to making $81,000 a year as a part-time real estate agent. So, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and push the bell so you can get notified every time I post a video live just like this so that you can crush it in your real estate business. I actually just got off the phone yesterday with one of my agent partners who shared with me the fact that they had earned $81,000 part-time their first year in this business. Now, I did the math with this person and we figured out that he's literally making twice as much money per hour part-time working in real estate than he is working on his job. And he's making almost the same amount of money part-time in real estate as he is working full-time on his job. I said, imagine how much money you'd be making if you were investing all of your time in real estate. So he's actually looking seriously at going full-time in real estate right away here. And we have countless success stories just like this in our group. So make sure you stay tuned right to the end of this video. Number one, time management. As a part-time real estate agent, this is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you only have a limited number of hours available during the week to invest in real estate. And because you have a limited number of time, you're not going to get caught up in make work projects or busy work. You're basically thinking, how can I get as much done as possible during the short amount of time I have available in real estate, no wasting time. And because of that, you can force yourself to get involved in productive activities and productive activities alone. It's also not good because if you don't identify which hours are available and set a very strict schedule, then it's easy to fall into that complacency, which means I have a full-time income. Real estate never really starts to catch on for you because you're having a difficult time setting time aside and it starts to run away from you, and it's easy to just let go of your dream and your goal of becoming a successful real estate agent. So don't let that happen to you. Number two, set a specific goal for when you think that you can go full-time in real estate. One of the easiest ways to look at this is how much money do you make per year in your current full-time job? And how many deals per year in real estate are you going to need to do in order to replace your income from your full-time job? Now figure this out. What is the average commission in your marketplace? What is the average sales price in your marketplace and the average commission for a sale in real estate? And then how many people do you have in your sphere of influence? I did a video on this recently. 200 people is 20 deals per year. Now, if you don't have enough people in your database to help service the number of transactions that you need to do to replace your income, then of course you've got to figure out what are the other methods of prospecting that I need to be involved in order to top myself up from the difference between what I should be able to service in my real estate business from my sphere of influence, and how many of those need to come from other sources. And set a specific date. If it's 1 year or a year and a half, whatever your current schedule is, whatever your capacity is, whatever your skill set is, it's important to set a date, because if you don't, it's easy to get stuck in that sort of fear mentality where you don't set that date, and because you don't, you kind of get into this rut of always being a part-time agent, afraid to let go of your full-time job. Part of this planning might be, what are your current assets and liabilities? What is your financial situation? Every scenario is different, but it's important to have that goal. Number three, partner with a full-time agent. I have another one of my agent partners who works with, I think, 5 or 6 different part-time agents, many of which are all doing about a deal a month, part-time, as real estate agents. And this full-time agent is helping all of his agent partners with whatever might be required from them during business hours. Because as we know, you might have some flexibility with your job to do paperwork, but to do promotional activities, to run errands for particular specific deals during the day, you need to have a full-time partner, boots on the ground helping you. and you might pay them on a fee for service arrangement or commission split. Every scenario, again, is a little bit different. Drop in the comments below. What is your current full-time job? Every scenario is different depending on what your job is, but also what your scenario is. Why is it that you want to go part-time in real estate? Let me know below and I will give you my 2 cents, because every situation is different. Every personal and business situation is different. Every job is different. Some jobs you have access to cell phone, some jobs you don't. Some jobs you're on call and you have a salary and you have a ton of flexibility. Some don't. Let me know. Number 4, you are going to need to consume pre-recorded training versus live and in-person training. Because again, if you're part-time, a lot of the really good in-person trainings, whether it's a group call or whether it's a one-on-one call, a lot of that stuff happens during business hours. And if you're part-time, you are going to need to consume pre-recorded training to make up for those gaps. Now, I do meet one-on-one basis after hours, sometimes with my agent partners, but we do several calls throughout the week that are live in person that you can actually raise your hand and ask questions. And of course, as well, with our company, there's 5 to 10 to 15 live classes a day that go on in our cloud campus and our online auditorium here at EXP. But all of those trainings are also, recorded into our, library of content. And so it's important to know that you have the information, but it's also important to know which pieces of information you should consume next. So having the right leadership, having the right mentor is also important so that they can at least say, here is the step in series of trainings that you need to consume in order to get the results that you're looking for in this business. Number 5, consider taking the plunge. For me personally, I jumped in with both feet right away early in my real estate career because I knew that the learning curve for me was going to be so big that it was going to require a full immersion of my efforts in order to develop the skills necessary to be successful in this process. And that's exactly what it took. Now, there's a few things that were missing from my sales process early on in my career, but it did require me to go in full time when I started. But here's the really cool thing. Everybody is different. And if you know yourself, then you are going to know whether you should go part-time or full-time in this business. I do recommend starting full-time, but I have another example of one of my agent partners. She started part-time. She applied some of the activities that I recommended that she do, and she came back to me and she said, Chris, I can't do what you asked me to do anymore. And I said, well, why not? And she says, I have like 6 clients that are needing my help right now and I'm overwhelmed. And I said, well, that's a good problem to have. Follow through with the business that you have, and then we'll work on step 2 and step 3. And she ended up doing, I think, 8 transactions in her first 6 weeks. And after 3 weeks into real estate, she was so overwhelmed and had so much success that, she quit her full-time job because in that 8 weeks, she made more money in real estate than she had the previous year, at her other job. So like I said, every scenario is totally different. So you need to know yourself and you need to set a plan and a goal for yourself. So if you're still not sure if you should go part-time or full-time and you have very specific questions based on what's going on with you, send me an email. You can reach me at questionsformolinar@gmail.com and I would be more than happy to help. All right, so now you know what the secret is to making $81,000 a year part-time as a real estate agent. And if you apply this to your business and you're getting good results, you might want to do more. And if that's the case, feel free to check out the rest of my content, some other videos here on my channel. Thank you for being here today. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button, comment down below, and like this video if you enjoyed this. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video.